Hello and welcome back to City Skylines. So ladies and gentlemen, today we are back in vanilla. I was going to say today is part whatever it is, but I've completely forgotten what part today's episode is, because since the last episode I have been traveling. I was at Simmer's meetup, and I have finally gone back in and read a whole bunch of comments. And people seem to be really into the idea of getting some mods into this Let's Play after part 30. And I was talking about it on Twitter, and I had a really fun, or at least what I think is a really fun idea. Basically, we get ourselves a traffic management mod, such as Traffic President. I get the 81 Tiles mod, and I get a couple of sort of general housekeeping mods, maybe, capping out about 5 or 10 mods, and then from part 31 onwards, this series is no longer just vanilla, it's vanilla with sprinkles, because with sprinkles, some mods on top of it, and it's vanilla with sprinkles. I thought of that idea pretty late at night, and the more I thought about it, the more I really liked it, especially considering I come across as intentionally cynical from time to time. I'm trying to change that, but as someone that has a somewhat cynical and occasionally serious approach to what they do, I feel like vanilla with sprinkles is suitably out there and a little bit weird, and I kind of like it. Now, for today's episode, I actually want to get back to something that we were doing before. Last episode, I don't think I spent all that much time, if any, working on... Yeah, because last episode I just worked on this, Hamilton Heights. But the episode before, we worked on the... I think was it the Eden Project? No, it was the Fusion Power Plant, wasn't it? So we were working on getting some of the monuments into the game, because obviously we have the Eden Project, we have the Fusion Power Plant, we don't currently have the Medical Center, or the Hadron Collider, or Hadron Collider, or the Space Elevator. Now, to be honest, I'm not all that... Well, I was going to say I'm not interested in the Space Elevator, but I realize we do have a tourism area in this city, so maybe we do want one of these. But I think what I want, first and foremost, is the Medical Center. I want to do everything I can to increase healthcare in my city, in vanilla. So we need the High Interest Tower. And that's a bit annoying, because I think the High Interest Tower is... It's not the Colossal Order offices. I think it's this one. Yeah. So it's a little bit out there in terms of design, but I reckon I can find somewhere that this thing will look kind of cool. If I could get it kind of central in there, I think that would be interesting. What's stopping me from doing that is actually a medical center and a firehouse. So, I'll move those to there. And not there. That spot. Then I think I can get this in there. No, it won't go central. Now that changes everything. I don't know why I almost growled at that, but okay. I kind of want it to go somewhere where it's going to go central. I'm going to be honest. I'm not a big fan of the idea of the building being completely off-center, because I think it's going to look a bit weird. It could be interesting in, like, that space. Now, that's not so bad there. And I guess that's sort of... no, that's right next to a high school. It's a little bit on the edge of the city for a giant building like that. Having it in that space would be kind of interesting, because obviously it's right by a sort of main road. Perhaps having it by the highway could also be interesting, but I don't know. So I decided that the Rosewood District was the perfect place for this building. It's sort of casting well, it's not literally casting a shadow, but if the sun was behind it, it would be casting a shadow over this beautiful park down in front of it with the 2 botanical gardens. I'm so happy with how this looks. We do need to do a little bit of detailing around it as well, but I'll get to that once we have every building that we're going to need for the medical center. So next up is the courthouse, which is in here somewhere as well. I believe it's that building. Yes, it is. Now, this one's going to be a bit tricky. We have the tax office just there, but I don't think this thing will actually go central. So this thing kind of needs to go in its own spot, and I'm not really sure what that could be. I guess I could build out this way a little bit and make a dedicated area for it. I guess that could kind of be interesting. especially if it was at a bit of an angle so you could see the courthouse as you come into the city. So I guess we can give that a bit of a try. We just have a bunch of offices right by the courthouse. Let's try this and do that kind of thing and just check to see if the courthouse would fit central there. So it will actually fit central on that stretch of road. The thing is, I kind of want it to go... If I do that and that... Now, that is not quite the angle I'm looking for. But if we do, say, that and that... Now, that's not a terrible angle, but if I go like that and to there and then do that... That's kind of the angle I'd be looking for, I think. So if I put the courthouse there, that kind of gives you the view of the back of the building, which I really enjoy coming in here. I will line this whole area with trees eventually, but I like this as the kind of layout there. So I think that bit of road can go. I kind of like this being a thing. I like the idea that maybe we do a little one-way road that sort of goes around like that. So you do have to sort of follow the one-way road to get to the courthouse. And what we can do as well is go in there and get ourselves a little police station. Except I'm going to go for the big police station because that kind of makes more sense right next to a courthouse. We could even, if we really wanted to, throw the prison out there. But I don't think it makes all that much sense to have the prison just here. We don't currently have a prison, but I think, honestly, I'm gonna leave adding the prison until we actually get the mods into the series, because I feel like that just makes a bit more sense, to be honest. I feel like having, you know, a prison in the middle of the city doesn't make all that much sense. I think having a prison, like, way out here could be a lot more fun. So that's what I'm gonna go for. I do think I want to just go ahead and connect to there. And I think that's alright. I could absolutely double up these roads, and I might very well do that, because I think having some buildings in this space could be interesting. Maybe what I do is add a pathway there, and a pathway there, and I really wish they connected, but that's fine. There's no worries about that. Delete those bits and delete, or rather add bits in there. Get ourselves just a little bit of office zoning there. I almost turned into Marlon Brando with that one. No, hold on. What was it? What's his voice in The God? I'm gonna make a... No, I can't do it. What was Marlon Brando's voice in The Godfather? It was that kind of low, like because the famous thing that people say is if you like, I'm sounding terrible right now, but if you put like Maltesers, which I don't know if everywhere has Maltesers, but Google Maltesers. If you put those like in your cheeks and then try to sound like Marlon Brando in The Godfather. By the way, if you haven't seen The Godfather and you are also like 18 years of age, go watch it. Those movies are amazing. Oh, I watched... I realized I'm like, yeah, if you're 18 years of age, go watch them. I watched The Godfather... I watched all 3 of them in one day when I was like 12. That was fun. It was so much fun. They're such good movies, but they are a little bit violent, is what I'll say. They're really good. They're just really violent. But anyway, you know, the point I'm trying to make is like, where was... I don't know where I was going with that. I've just completely lost my train of thought. Like, I got really distracted by, like, Marlon Brando's voice and Maltesers. What? How did I get to this point of conversation? I don't know. I'm legitimately slightly lost in my own train of thought. So I think with that, the best thing to do is, get a little bit of water out to these guys so they can zone. Get a little bit there and just run that down to there, and that's fine. So that guy should have some water, which will cheer him up a little bit. I would like to put some kind of park in here. I'm still slightly concerned about completely losing my own train of thought. That's kind of embarrassing. Just a little bit. Just a little bit embarrassing. Let's do that and that. And put just a couple of trees along that I think could look kind of nice. Something a bit like that. And a few oak trees in the corners like that. And maybe some bushes just around there and over there. And I think that's pretty good. Nice and simple, nothing too complicated for a park. Like I said, I do need to go in and line this area with trees, but for the time being, I like that positioning. I think that's quite nice. Once it has trees around it, it'll look much better. Also, zoning over here might have been an idea. I mean, that's not real. Well, I was going to say it's not a thing I can do with a police station here, but I guess if I get rid of that little pathway and extend a road to here. Oh. So that's not a thing I can do. I can put the police station right there. Which I guess is okay? I don't know. I don't know if I'm convinced. I don't know if I'm convinced that this is actually a good-looking thing. I kind of liked the police station being on the other side. But I kind of also like the idea that we would Oh, that can connect. I didn't realize. I also like the idea that we would maybe have some zoning that goes around this building. I also realized that if this is just a pathway I can connect to, right? I've never noticed that. I've honestly never noticed that that's a thing you can do. That's pretty cool. Okay, maybe we'll not do zoning over here, and maybe this is just going to be another big park. Oh, this changes everything. Before we go and make this area beautiful, though, we do need to get Lazaret Plaza, which is this, which can possibly go right there, because it does just look like a fancy plaza. And I can move it pretty close like that. I can have the pathway come in at the back of it. So that one was easy, getting Lazaret Plaza in here. And it sort of connects too, so it still sort of works with the aesthetic that I was going for. Now the real question is, can I get that to connect? Yes, I can. Like that. There we go. So that connects together pretty nicely. I'm quite happy with that. That is absolutely one of my favorite plazas in the game. I don't know why. Like, those guys are a bit creepy. They kind of look like Slenderman, but you know, I mean, I'm sure they're not. What do we need now? We need the Oppression Office. Now, the Oppression Office is an interesting building. It's this one, which also looks. Oh, you know what? No, these buildings are completely different styles, though. I was gonna say we could put the Oppression Office like there next to this, but this building, I think I'm right in saying it's kind of Greek. No, it's more. Or is it Greek or Roman? I feel like it's Roman. I don't know. I think Roman is that, but then this is not. This doesn't look Roman to me. I don't know. I mean, I just don't think they work together. So I'm going to delete that because I could, in theory, get the Oppression Office in over here if I was to get rid of this hospital. Because, I mean, as much as I like the hospital being there, we have another one just over here already, and we are about to get the medical center. And I know I did at one point say we're not going to use, you know, the medical... I think I might have said we're not going to use the medical center. We're not going to use the medical center as a complete replacement for actual hospitals. I still want to have things like hospitals around the place. This doesn't go central. Wow, okay. Now that slightly changes things. That slightly makes me not want to put this thing in here. But I'll put it there because that should be fine. And I guess I'm gonna put a hospital back in here, which can go central, right? That's central. Yeah, that's fine. It's all good. It's all good. I wasn't freaking out at all. Let's just get the zoning back in there. I realize there is actually no demand for industrial zoning, so these guys are going to be abandoned for a while, or these areas are going to be abandoned for a while, but that's fine. To be honest, that's completely my mistake anyway, so. There's the Oppression Office. I think behind it, I would like to do a little pathway like that, just to thicken up the... Actually, let's not bother. We kind of need one there, because there are some stairs, so I feel like that kind of makes sense. Then doing some bushes sort of along there a little bit. Just kind of like that. I'm going to do them very spread out, I guess. Just so, you know, they're there, but they're not the neatest, and they're going to be sort of hidden by some trees anyway, so it's all good. Do a tree there, do a tree there, and do one down there. Then do some small little oak trees just in the middle bits. And like that. That doesn't look so bad. And this area is going to look good again once it builds up. What else do we need? We need the mole. Oh dear. The mole of moderation is this building. And it's a bit out there, is my concern. So maybe we put the mole of moderation. I mean, the mole of moderation, I feel... Oh, I don't know. It would kind of be... It would kind of be out... What if we put the mole of moderation, like, over here? Not specifically this spot, but why are you all abandoned? Guys? Abandoned because there were too few really? Too few services? That's an interesting one. What do you not have? You have fire. You don't have healthcare. Well, that kind of makes a bit of sense. Alright. Let's get some healthcare into this spot, because apparently that's a thing I forgot to do. Can I do it there? That is a little... No, that's not a great spot for it. There at the end wouldn't be terrible, I guess. So we'll do that. Death care is a thing out here. Fire coverage is fine. Policing, not so much. I realize my voice keeps going, like, really high, and I do apologize for that, because I know it annoys some people. Some people are okay with it. Some people are used to it, and are like, oh yeah, that's just what his voice does. Some people absolutely hate it. It's not always intentional, is all I'm saying. At the moment, it's mostly not intentional. It's just that I'm losing my voice. Also, we are having water problems. Yeah, we need to fix that. You don't have water either. Okay, let's just add to our line of water towers, which at this point, I'm just going to start filling in the gaps. We do also need more sewage treatment, which... Where did I... Oh, yeah, I forgot I put sewage treatment over here. I mean, it's not a bad spot for sewage treatment. It's pretty good, but... There we go. That didn't actually... Water availability didn't really go up there. That's interesting. We probably do want to get some legit water pumps, to be honest. That is a pretty good idea that we totally should do. We're also having a lot of fires. I feel like there's a lot of buildings have just burnt down, because I cleared out like 10 burnt down buildings before I started this episode, so I don't know. I feel like we're getting a lot of burnt down buildings, which I kind of want to not have, to be honest. I don't know. We'll deal with that at some other point. We need to get the mole of moderation. And like I was saying, I kind of like the idea of putting it over here somewhere. I did just spot this area, which I did want to do something with. So I think what I'll do is I'm going to go out like this. And I'm going to go from here. Like that. And the mole of moderation can sort of go in this space, I think. I don't really want it to... I kind of want it to be at an angle the same way this guy is. That's just gonna be tricky. I mean... Sort of, anyway. Let's see. What if I did that kind of thing? Bulldoze all of these guys. Go 10 from there. And go like... Oh, how can I get these to line up properly? So that and that. So that would be the diagonal I want. So then go 10 from either side of that. Delete those bits. And get the mole of moderation kind of central. So there's 6 on the right and there is 6. So that's central. That's fine. Alright. Let's just move that in. So if I go to there and... there, and then try and get it central again. Now that's gonna be slightly more tricky because there's a park there. Okay, what if I put it on this side? I feel like that's okay. Maybe. No, I don't know that I like that. I really don't know that I like that. Oh, bother. I kind of want to keep those plaza things there, though. I don't really want to have to move this thing. So I guess this is just going to have to be somewhat off-center. I guess I don't really have a choice. So we'll do... We'll do this kind of thing to try and get these guys to connect together, which is working there. Then go from there to... Ooh. Is this going to work? No. Well, that's annoying. Okay. I can, I guess, move it to there. And I can maybe get those pathways back in that I lost there, but... Well, we're going to have to see. Let's go like that. And like that. And, oh dear. Okay, I think this works. It's not so bad. It's, we've got room in here for some decorations. We'll probably do the same thing on this side too. So I'd say that's alright. I think I can make that work. That's sort of connected there, so that's alright. That seems pretty good. That's a good place for the mole of moderation. As for buildings back here, I mean, I don't know that we'll necessarily have buildings back there. I do kind of like the idea of maybe doing a little road like this, though. And trying to get a pathway that connects to that road. Because what I could do is put a little... Basically put a little bus stop on that road. So if I do that, that's a little bus... That road's there to be a bus stop, so you can get a bus straight to this thing. Because I don't think buses stopping right in front of it is any use, because there's nowhere for pedestrians to cross the road anyway. So if we end up putting some public transport around here, that's going to be good for that. We currently need sea and skyscraper. What is sea and skyscraper? I've no idea. Is it this? No, that's the servicing services center. This one, oh no, this is easy. Because this thing is tall, but it's not some ridiculously giant building. So what I can really do with this is build... No, that was dumb. I was looking specifically for kind of a little square like this, rather than just a random area. Because this thing can just sort of go like that. And that's fine. That's all it needs to be. It's just, as long as it has kind of got its own space, that's fine. So let's just do that. And there we go. That's the sea and skyscraper. And it blends in, which is what I love about it. I love that that's a thing that just, you know, you look at it and it's like, ah, it's another tall building. It's nothing out of the ordinary for this one. That's, it's useful. Anyway, what else do we can get it? We can get the medical center. Beautiful. The question is, or rather the question becomes, where are we putting this really futuristic and really tall medical center? I kind of like the idea of sort of over here. I also need to sort of fill in this space. But I don't know. Because I feel it's a little too futuristic to have really close to the old town areas. What about in here? That's kind of a cool space. Could I fit it in there? Could I get it central in there is actually the question I should be asking. No. Of course I can't. Why would I think I could get it central? Why? You know what? Oh. I want it kind of central in the district at least. I guess that's kind of all right there. That's sort of central for that road. Yeah, that'll do. That's fine. That's fine. I can make it work. So, sorta. Let's bulldoze the buildings around it. Those ones can stay. I'm actually just gonna move it to be sort of central between those roads. There we go. So that is now central between those two roads. That's fine. That's all it needs to be, I think. I'm not going to stress too much, because I'm not going to get it perfect. I haven't been, you know, planning this entire city to the same degree that something like Emerald County would be planned, so this is fine. As for the areas to either side of it, I mean, I guess parks? I guess sort of little areas like this with some trees and stuff like that. They're just sort of line those little corners kind of like that. I think that looks kind of nice. Yeah, that's alright. Do the same on this side with just a little line of small oak trees, and do the same just up this end with a little line of small oak trees. And in the middle, we'll do one big tree and another big tree. and just scatter a couple of bushes about like that. And I think that's all right. I think that's pretty good. It's simple, but it does what it needs to do. And that's very quickly becoming a phrase of mine. It does what it needs to do. But I will say that I'm very pleased with how this thing looks. I think I might have picked a pretty decent area. It is obviously a futuristic building. It is obviously very... Good lord, it's expensive. Very expensive. But I think it's alright. I really do. I mean, it doesn't stick out like too much of a sore thumb. So I think we're alright. As for this guy here, I mean... Really? More plazas would be the way to go? Just to make this look like a paved area? So one of those would be good, but I guess, I mean, we can get this in here, sort of. We can get one there, which I think is really good. We can get one there, and I really want one there, despite the fact it got rid of a pathway that I also really wanted. So... The question becomes, can I just very, very cheekily... Oh, there we go. Look at that. That's all we needed. That's all we needed. Now what we do is we go in and try to line this this plaza with a pathway there. I want to do the same on this side too. That bit's fine. That should go like that. And straight through to, I guess, about there. There's a lot of pathways here, you might have noticed. But I think it's alright. It just makes the area look kind of busy, I guess. And if I had some mods, I'm not gonna, by the way, I'm not gonna be enabling any of the, like... I might enable the terrain editor mod, which means that you don't have to worry about the soil thing. Which I think is kind of silly anyway. But I'm not going to be enabling any of the, like, the painting mods, so I can't paint concrete. That's not a thing I'm going to be doing. Just as an FYI. That's one mod I would actually like to, I guess, continue to avoid. I use it in Emerald County, I don't think it really... I think that's too far away from the vanilla game to really have a place in this series. So, we're going to sort of keep it, keep it away. Let's just get a few big trees in there. Let's get a couple of big trees just around there. And a couple of big trees just through that space too. And a couple of small ones there. And a couple of small ones up that end too. I think that looks alright. I do think I'm going to need to do some stuff on this side of the road though. Which kind of makes me think that maybe just buildings? Maybe just a bit of... Well, commercial zoning, and if I do a high-rise ban out here, then it's fine. Although I think offices with a high-rise ban are actually going to be smaller, so let's just do some offices with a high-rise ban. I'll put another plaza just in there to fix the zoning in that weird space. So there we go. And if I just go in, now that is Vanilla Science Center. So I'm just going to sort of extend Vanilla Science Center to encompass the Mall of Moderation, just because I figure I might as well. It's obviously not, this is obviously not just Vanilla Science Center anymore, but that's fine. There's no big deal about that. Let's just do that kind of thing, and then clear the roads so that the district zoning is obviously... very, very neat. Now let's go to policies. Let's do a high-rise ban. And I think that's all we're really gonna need. Now I realize as well, we need to go and say that the style here is the vanilla style, so that you go away. And I think that looks okay. I think that kind of works. And we do have a little bit of industrial demand here, so we're kind of, we're making it work. We're making it work. So let's have a quick look and see what we would need for the Hadron Collider. The Colossal Order offices. Well, I don't think we're gonna get the Colossal Order offices today. I think for today, I am going to leave it there. We've done a pretty good job. I'm quite happy with how things are going. So yeah, I think leaving it there for today is gonna be a pretty good idea. So with that said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you kindly for watching. This has been City Skylines and the Vanilla Let's Play Part I am going to take a guess and say it's like 26, I think, 25, somewhere in there. Am I close? Am I close, YouTube? I don't know. I will by the time I'm uploading this, so that question's kind of irrelevant, but I need to know. I'm actually gonna, you know what? I'm gonna just really quickly and really cheekily just go and check my schedule while I'm recording. This is in fact part 26. So my guess was spot on. So with that said, thank you again for watching. This has been City Skylines and the Vanilla Let's Play part 26. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye!